a jugar. This is JC from Real and Simulated Wars blog, and I'm pleased to provide this preview of Panzer Campaign's Japan 45, Operation Olympic, the latest game from Untitled Software and the able people and the wonderful people at Wargame Design Studio brought us this wonderful title. For the first time we're in the Pacific with Panzer Campaigns. Who knew? That's great. And well, this game features Operation Olympic, which, you know, it never happened in real life, but it was planned though to a very, very advanced a level of detail, and so it's not so deviated from history, and I find it like a very interesting setting because it has to do a lot of, you know, how costly it would have been to invade Japan. And yeah, I can tell you, the minute you open this game and you see the scenarios, which I'm going to do in a few minutes, it's like, oh my god, just this is going to be impossible. And well, you know, for people not familiar with the series, the Panzer Campaign series is X's and turns type of game. It's not for everybody, I reckon. And as you know, myself, what I find very attractive this type of games, it offers a lot of the traditional wargaming, and you know, the settings are really very interesting, very well researched. You go through the notes and you can see that a lot of work has gone through this and a lot of thought. It's really out of this world. So that being said, I'm going to navigate a bit through the selection menu. Of course, we have one. Well, besides getting started, which is just to get acquainted with the engine and how it works and what are the mechanics of the game, you have a very small scenario here for Tanegashima invasion, which is a very short and nice and tidy scenario that you can use. And then you have, of course, the big campaign, which is, oh my god, that I will show you. It's really there are a few things that I want to comment about that, and there are several variants of each particular scenario. And then you have the Operation Olympic broken down into the Marine Corps beaches, and you know, the U.S. sectors, western and south. It is really very well thought because it gives the player the opportunity not to play the big scenario, but just a small part of it. It's kind of a tradition in the Panzer Campaign games. And what is also, given the size of the big campaign, which is really very, very impressive, you guys are going to get two mid-game type of scenarios where, you know, the landings have happened and you have to advance inland, and this is where the things get really very icky for both sides. Actually, it's both sides a challenge. I had the opportunity to play from the Japanese side, and let me tell you, it has its challenges too. So it is, the problem is the terrain. It's like great terrain for the defense, but the Japanese resources are not so good. So maybe at a later time we can go with another video to see what to do in different using the two sides, or playing as the two sides. These are the scenarios specifically that I'm talking about. You know, north part, you know, just at November 19, everything starts, I do believe, at November 1 or November 4th, and it is really fully chock full of different possibilities for every tooth. Sometimes you feel like a big campaign, sometimes you feel like, you know, a very short scenario. Everything is there for you. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to load the campaign, the solo part, because I don't play by email too much. Maybe I should. but for the time being I don't do that. So I'm gonna just load it, and I'm gonna play as the allies. I want to play some Fog of War so I don't spoil it for you. And this is where you are left into. And whoa, where are my troops? Yeah, I thought so. The troops are actually, we're seeing the center of the map, and the troops are here. We do have the Marines, beaches, and this is the west side for the US, and then we have the southern part near Hishida. So pretty freaking expansive, and as you can see, the landing sites are like mined. There is a lot of fortified positions, not as strong as you may expect, but you will see that the fun starts when you get inland. As soon as you start moving, look at this terrain, forest, and of course the Japanese are going to be entrenched. Look at this position, for instance. Let me zoom in a little bit so I can show you what exactly I'm talking about. You see, it is in, well, this one is in a field, but you know, the trenches are really very well prepared positions. So it's going to take quite an effort to get through this terrain. And the other thing that may not be so obvious for the player, it actually, you know, happened to me. It is that these things that you think that they are, you know, pleasant fields and in the, like, you know, cultivation or how do you call it, just crops and everything, they are freaking rice paddies and they are inundated. So you need to be in trouble mode, or you need to go with your troops dismounted on them, which is adds to the problems of mobility. And you see the wholesome amount of forest and you know, vegetation that adds to concealment and cover. So moving inland is really the name of the game here. Not that the landings are, you know, an easy thing, and I'm going to show you in a few seconds. But you have here in this west landing site, you have the LCTs, as shown in the top left over there, ready to provide some fire support. And we'll talk about these landings maybe a bit later, but of course you have important support from different types of vessels, all the way up to battleships like the California, the Colorado, the USS Maryland, go Maryland, yeah, and the West Virginia. Who else is there? The North Carolina. It's just a beautiful lineup, and they are able to provide very good support. So that being said, of course, I'm not going to try to play through this because it's going to be too much, and I don't have too much time for this video. I don't want to, you know, overly overdo it. But why don't we load another scenario which is shorter to show you a bit of the mechanics and take some notes about gameplay, how this game is to be played. No, not like how is this to be. You play it as you want, but you know, some considerations when you start playing this game. And yes, I'm here. I'm about to load this scenario that is a subset of the big Olympic operation. It's called the U.S. Marine Corps landing sites or beaches. I don't use the word beaches because, you know, it's like my accent gets in the way, and it I don't know if you see what I meant. But anyway, let's go over there to the landing sites. So this is what we have. We have a lot of naval support. We have some battleships over there, and of course then we have the cruisers in a second line, and then we have a set of destroyers. With their nimble guns, they can do some damage, but not usually too much. So these merits is full zoom in. You will see the LCTs over there, and you will see that you have several options. Of course, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to provide fire support, and this can be done using just pressing the artillery dialog over there, and you have plenty of firepower to go through. And well, the effects of these different assets on the Japanese are, you know, quite limited, because these guys are very well entrenched. And to be honest, the only perilous time that you will see in this, when it comes to the landings, it is to keep your troops in the landing sites, in the beaches. The reason being that, you know, they're very open, and according to the design notes, the worst that you can do it is to keep these guys, your guys, at the landing site, fully exposed to, you know, enemy fire, indirect fire, and even kamikaze attacks. Those kamikaze attacks, I do believe that they are kind of not explicitly shown, but rather implied in modifications for the different types of fire. The reason being that it could take, you know, a lot of, it will suck the fun out of the, for the Japanese player, because you have to micromanage a lot of different units. So, just to get you an idea, these are my indirect fire support, and then you have air missions. Look at this. This is something like, oh my god, look at this. You can bomb them to death, but they're pretty resilient. They still, you know, can keep their units fighting. So let me show you. Let's start doing this. And of course you have the units that they are gonna be landing the first wave, and this is very freaking accurate. You know, they will land first one of these fire support vehicles, amphibious vehicles, with an engineer unit, just to clear the minefields, because as you can see, mines all over the place. So let's start doing some damage over there, just to show you. So I'm gonna take the big battleships. I'm gonna completely ignore the things that are on the side. I'm gonna keep shooting volley after volley. A fair amount of damage that you're doing, but since we are with full fog of war rules, that is a coastal battery firing at us, and we'll take a look at it later. I was saying that sometimes when you see no effect or not many people killed, you do see effects of fatigue or you know, loss of morale, which I wonder how is modeled. I didn't play enough as a Japanese to see, you know, their fierce determination to keep in the fight, how it is modeled. I'm looking forward to see that too. But anyway, you know, this is pretty much, and then we have the LCTs firing their payload at this right, so that's it. And of course, if we start calling air support, it's gonna take a long while just to show you how it works. Just click on the X that you want to attack, and then you select your air support that you want to use. And it is very important, and actually that's something that I haven't been very diligent in my Panzer campaign games. It is to choose the right airplane for the right mission. Like, of course, you have recon planes, they cannot do any damage, but then you have bombers, medium bombers, and heavy bombers, and you have fighters, and fighters, you know, tend to not be very good to do any significant damage into these guys. So watch for that. I'm going to be, for the sake of this video, I'm going to be sparing. I'm going to use just a couple. Let's use this A26 to shoot into that. And well, you see the effects are really very minimal. Let's try another one over here. Let's use the B-26. How much I love that guy. That little plane. And very limited damage. So let's do some carpet bombing on that X. We have a super fortress here. I don't know how to select multiple units at the same time. I don't know. And somebody can pause it. Look at that. I aimed it here and it fell, 1 kilometer off. That's beautiful. That's great. Yeah, air support has not been my thing in Panzer campaigns, and maybe this has been there since the very beginning, but I love when this happens. And I was, chuckling myself the other day. It was like just amazing. Anyway, those are little things that, they are considered. Of course, many things are abstracted. And when you see these LCTs, and now that we're about to place the landing units, of course, there is a lot of small vessels, landing vessels, which are not modeled here. And that is very, very nice. You directly drop your units. So to make it more easy, you see here, you put arrived, and then you can literally place them all. And of course, in real life, these LCTs are not the landing craft per se. There was a lot of smaller craft that will go to the shore and provide that. That is not modeled, it is abstracted, but it's a very nice mechanic, because these landings were huge. They were an entire choreography. I don't know if you ever seen a plan for a landing, a tactical plan. It's really like, time it by 5 minutes. You go first, you go second, turn around, go back. It's like, my God, on all of these, and they're, facing enemy opposition, which hopefully that's another thing that I like about the game, that, the Japanese are actually waiting for you inside, like luring the Americans in, like, come on in, let's fight inshore rather than out there. So I'm going to place all the units, and the first thing you will notice is that we will start suffering losses to mines and to enemy fire. And that completes the landing. I'm going to take a look now, take a peek of how many losses I suffered. And you see 250 men just for landing. And the Japanese have suffered a lot, but don't forget that we threw, you know, the kitchen sink at them. So and very costly right there. And right now, what one is supposed to do, it is just to move in short, start taking name tags from these Japanese defending forces. And right now you can't, because these engineer units that you see over there in the left, they're clearing mines. And the other thing that I saw, and I'm gonna switch to that page in a few seconds, it is that, you know, don't invite enemy fire, because if you get the return fire from the Japanese, you're in the losing end. And right now we're going to give them the initiative. And of course I apologize for this, because otherwise it will take forever. I am not using all my air assets at once, so that's on purpose. I don't have any RT right now, and I have all this left that I'm waving, just because this is just a video and I wanted to show you the mechanics. But speaking of that, I wanted to show you this in the blitz.org, which is a premium website for hardcore wargaming, computer wargaming, and other things too. You will see this wonderful post by Sergeant Rock. I don't remember the specific name of the thread, but it is of course regarding Panzer campaigns, and he has these Japan 45 tips, and they are great. Just take a look at them. And well, the thing that needs to be taken care of right now, it is that second point, that, you know, the beach X's have a fire modifier of 200%. So that's something to be very careful about when you play this game. All right, so I'm gonna surrender the turn, and single-use units will be removed. You know which ones are those? The LCTs right here. So these are gone. Don't save this. And I have it in an accelerated mode, otherwise it becomes too ominous to wait for it. And massive losses. I see losses everywhere. So it's gonna be a huge amount of troops lost. Oh my god, I see it everywhere. I'm getting so nervous. So this is the start of our turn. Let's take a look at our losses. 323. Wow. Up and going. So right now we have some units that have arrived, I hope. Units arrived. And these are combat units. So I'm gonna just place them all. And as the troops pile up on the landing sites, they are subject to enemy fire. And let's hope we don't suffer too many disruptions or something like that. But this, you know, the beaches are packed, and I wonder if I should have attacked any of these positions with just my engineers, but it feels a bit odd. So anyway, and of course I did something wrong. Before placing the units, I should have used the plentiful and bountiful amount of indirect fire that I do have, like this and like this. But well, my excuse it is that it is just a demo video or a preview video, just to show you guys around. So that's basically shows the challenges that you're gonna be facing when landing in Japan 45, and the things that we ready to be watchful for. And well, that's pretty much it. I don't want to, you know, overwhelm you with a half an hour video, but nonetheless, what I wanted to do It is to show you, for those who don't care too much about landings, it is one of these land-based scenarios. Oh, there is also a scenario with the airborne division. I believe it is the 11th Airborne Division. There we go. I don't know. So, oh, and this scenario, Mount Kirishima. Oh my god, that one is one of the hardest things. I tried it, but I had to give up. It was just impossible to advance. I don't know. I'm playing it wrong. I'm sure I am, but it is such a challenging. And well, continue with the Marines. Why don't we try this one? This one I haven't loaded it at all, but it will show you. Oh, there we go. Beautiful. Look at this. So the Marines have made it through. They advanced inland, I don't know, maybe 20 kilometers, 10 kilometers. And you have the several Marine units pretty much inland, and expanding. And, well, this is a nice scenario to play with. And you have all these units, and there is no landings, there is no nothing over here. Just to have to keep your units tidied up. I'm a bit surprised that, you know, they kind of expanded. They have like one Marine division. Let me see the order of battle here. Well, this is just the Corps. We have one division in the center, another division in the north, and apparently the 5th Marine Division pushing towards Kagoshima, which is wow. So anyway, guys, I do believe that there is a bit for everybody. Of course, the main challenges are landings and the things that happen after landing. Moving inland is not a free ride either, and it provides a lot of different challenges. So the type of maneuvering that you will be doing with your units is really not that much, and you have to be very clever to, you know, choose your avenues of approach and to choose where to attack and which parts to just bypass. Overall, it is a great game. I absolutely love it. I do believe that it makes a very good point when it comes to, you know, for the fans of history. I was honestly not very familiar with Operation Olympic, and after this game's release, which was like 1 week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I have been reading a bit, and this game nails it in the head. It is very, you know, a very somber account of what would happen if the Allies would have to invade Japan. Honestly, it makes the point better than than the actual books that you may read about this, because you know, you get an idea that well, because I've been costly because of this or that and this factor and these calculations, but seeing it in action and unfold in front of your screen is a completely different premise. I really appreciate that from John Tiller and the Wargame Design Studio. And yet again, many of you may find this like, oh my god, X's and turns, what happened where we're still in the 80s. You know, the value proposition of the Panzer campaign series has never been eye candy or special effects or sugary treatment of warfare, where you see explosions and 3D units moving around. It is traditional wargaming, and the things happen in your screen and need a special translation in your head, and for that, you have to recognize that this game achieves many things that no other series have achieved ever, even tried. So kudos for that, and I am hoping to share another video if possible. I don't know how many views I get with this. I don't know how much interest I can gather, but nonetheless, thank you for watching and keep gaming.